Brooklyn, 1979. A little girl is born into a modest family. Her parents name her Aaliyah, an Arabic name meaning the highest, the one who rises. It's almost prophetic for someone who, without knowing it yet, would go on to mark an entire generation. From childhood, Aaliyah draws attention. A soft voice, a determined gaze, she has a rare confidence for her age. At home, she sings, dances, puts on shows for her family. When her parents moved to Detroit, music takes center stage in her life. At church, her voice stands out from the choir. At school, people notice how at ease she is on stage. At 10, she appears on Star Search. She doesn't win, but her talent impresses. For a child that age, the performance is already a promise. And one man notices that promise, her uncle, Barry Hankerson. Barry isn't a stranger to the business. He's a music producer and married to soul legend Gladys Knight. Thanks to him, Aaliyah gets a glimpse behind the scenes of show business. At just 11, she steps on stage in Las Vegas alongside Gladys Knight for the first time. Stage fright, spotlights, the crowd, everything changes. From that day on, she knows she wants to sing. But in this industry, success always has a price. Barry Hankerson founds his own label, Blackground Records, and decides to bet on his niece. To produce her first album, he calls on a name already well known in Randy B. R. Kelly. At the time, he's considered a prodigy, a respected songwriter and producer. He quickly becomes Aaliyah's mentor. In 1994, at just 15, Aaliyah releases her debut album, Age Ain't Nothing But a Number. The record is a triumph. Critics praise the maturity of her voice, her minimalist style, her natural grace. She's only 15 and already holds her own against major figures on the scene. Her videos run on repeat on MTV. Her slender silhouette and mysterious gaze become her signature. But behind the lights, something troubling is brewing. Shortly after the album's release, a rumor shocks the industry. Aaliyah and R. Kelly were secretly married. On the marriage certificate, her age was allegedly falsified, 18 instead of 15. The scandal breaks. The family denies it. Barry Hankerson mobilizes his contacts to smother the story. The marriage is annulled. Silence is imposed. Aaliyah herself will never say a word about it. Not once. Her silence becomes a wall. And behind that wall, the young girl changes. Those close to her describe her as more distant, more reserved. She buries herself in work, avoids journalists, sleeps little. Some say she kept a journal where she wrote her dreams, her fears, her thoughts, as if she were trying to hold on to a life that no longer fully belonged to her. For a while, she disappears from the spotlight. No more interviews, no public appearances. And then one day she returns, transformed. New team, new sound, new energy. Two names define this rebirth: Timbaland and Missy Elliott. With them, Aaliyah finally finds her lane. Their collaboration creates a completely new sound, futuristic rhythms, airy melodies, a delicate yet assured voice. In 1996, she releases One in a Million. The album is a revolution. Timbaland and Missy Elliott invent a style, and Aaliyah elevates it. Together, they redefine modern Randy B. The press compares her to Janet Jackson or Saad, but Aaliyah isn't imitating anyone. She's different. Her videos are stripped down. Her presence is magnetic. She doesn't always smile, but her gaze is enough to captivate. Behind the scenes, she's a perfectionist. Every movement, every note, every light has to be right. She demands precision without ever losing her gentleness. In 1999, Hollywood calls. She lands a role in Romeo Must Die alongside Jet Li. The film is an international success. She also records the soundtrack and performs Try Again, a global hit. The chorus says, "If at first you don't succeed, dust yourself off and try again." It sums up her philosophy: keep going even through pain. At 20, Aaliyah is at the top: singer, actress, fashion icon. Major designers want to work with her. But beneath the success, something seems to dim. She becomes more private, almost wistful. In interviews, she stays humble, talks about gratitude and family. Those who know her well sense a weariness. Friends say she often had the same dream, lifting into the light, a peaceful journey through the air, as if deep down she sensed something. Shortly before her final shoot, she confides to a friend, "I often dream that I'm leaving and that afterward nothing hurts anymore." No one would ever forget that line. Because just as everything seemed to be opening up for her, Aaliyah was about to begin the last chapter of her life, a chapter written between glory, exhaustion, and tragic fate. And everything would tip in the Bahamas. Summer 2001. Aaliyah has just released her third album, simply titled Aaliyah. She's determined to film the Rock the Boat video in a natural setting between sky and ocean. The team heads to the Bahamas, turquoise water, white sand, blinding light. Director Hype Williams is at the helm. Choreographer Fatima Robinson oversees the movement. On paper, everything is perfect. From the first hours, the fatigue sets in. The days are long. The heat makes everything harder. Usually all smiles, Aaliyah seems tense. She's sleeping little, joking less, but the moment the camera rolls, her precision returns. One sequence sticks with the dancers. Lying on a boat, arms open, she lets the water and the light envelop her. Several witnesses later say the image felt like a farewell. The shoot is supposed to run longer, but Aaliyah's schedule is tight. On August 25th, she wants to head back. There's talk of leaving immediately for Miami. The team charters a small twin-engine plane, a Cessna 402B designed for 8 passengers. Problem: there are 9 of them with heavy suitcases and equipment. A production member notes that the aircraft appears overloaded. Despite reservations, they make arrangements to go. The pilot's name is Luis Morales III. He's hired very shortly before the flight. Later, the investigation will reveal damning details. He lacked the required qualifications for that type of aircraft. There were administrative irregularities, and substances were found in his system. Another official finding: the plane exceeded the authorized weight by about 300 kilos, and its center of gravity was too far back, making the takeoff unstable from the first seconds. Several witnesses say Aaliyah was uneasy about the plane. Some claim she wanted to wait for another flight. Baggage handler Kingsley Russell would recount, years later, that after an argument about leaving, Aaliyah was asked to rest in an air-conditioned car and was later brought back asleep and carried on board. That account appears in no official report, but it reignited debate about the state in which she boarded. At 4:50 p.m., the plane lines up on the Abaco runway and takes off. It travels only a few hundred yards. The nose dips, the aircraft crashes just beyond the runway and catches fire. 9 people on board. No survivors. First responders arrive quickly, but it's already over. Aaliyah is pronounced dead at the scene. In the days that follow, grief and disbelief wash over New York. Thousands attend the funeral. Missy Elliott, Timbaland, DMX, artists and strangers standing in the same silence. Her mother releases the first of 22 doves, one for each year of her life. The image remains seared in memory. The investigators' report arrives a few weeks later. It cites a combination of factors: significant overloading, poor weight distribution, and an unqualified pilot. Technically, the explanation holds. But for those who were there, questions remain. Why accept an overloaded plane? Why not ship the gear on a separate flight? Why the rush when an alternative had been discussed? Damon Dash, Aaliyah's partner at the time, would later say a private jet was supposed to take her home, and that he still doesn't know why that option wasn't used. From there, 2 narratives take shape. The first, official, speaks of a chain of human errors and negligence. The second, carried by relatives, crew members, and indirect witnesses, emphasizes decisions made in haste, ignored warnings, and inconsistencies never clarified. The one shared certainty is this: the flight should never have taken off under those conditions. Part 3 will return to what followed. The silences, the industry rumors, the posthumous testimonies, the publications that reopen the case, and above all, Aaliyah's legacy, still intact in today's music. Do you want me to continue in the same tone right now? After the crash, the initial shock gives way to a stunned silence. Fans mourn an icon. The press calls it a tragic accident and tributes flood in. But behind the scenes, Some refuse to see it as just a random aviation disaster. Too many things don't line up. Too many rushed decisions. Too many gray areas. The first to shake the official version is baggage handler Kingsley Russell. His testimony, revealed 20 years later, contradicts several points of the investigation. According to him, Aaliyah didn't want to get on board. He says she told him, "I don't want to take that plane. It isn't safe." Minutes later, he claims he saw her lying down, unconscious, before she was carried onto the aircraft. The story has never been confirmed, but it was enough to reopen the wound. Director Hype Williams has never publicly addressed those accusations. In a brief statement, he simply said she had a light inside her you only find once in a generation. Nothing more. Yet several sources claim a private jet arranged by Lenny Kravitz was waiting for Aaliyah and her team, safe and ready to go. So why choose a small local Cessna? Poorly maintained and overloaded? Damon Dash, Aaliyah's partner at the time, has repeated the same thing for years. She was supposed to leave on Lenny's jet. Everything was set. Someone, somewhere, changed the plan. Some point to a last-minute mix-up, others to impatience. It's hard to verify, accounts differ. What doesn't change is the sense of a series of avoidable mistakes. An employee of the airline would later confide, "Everyone knew the plane was too heavy, even the pilot, but nobody dared oppose a star's team." Then come darker rumors, the ones whispered in back rooms. Some talk about financial interests. Others mention contracts, insurance policies, even internal feuds within the music industry. Aaliyah's uncle, Barry Hankerson, Blackground Records boss, often appears in those conversations. He controlled her rights, her travel, her signings. After her death, he blocked the digital release of her catalog for 20 years, officially to protect her legacy. Unofficially, some see it as a way to keep control. Years pass, but suspicion lingers. In 2021, journalist Kathy Yandeli publishes an investigative book, Baby Girl, better known as Aaliyah. She gathers new documents and testimony, including Kingsley Russell's, and mentions a multi-million-dollar insurance policy taken out shortly before the tragedy. The revelations reignite the conversation. Questions once buried resurface. Why the rush? Why so much cover-up afterward? And most of all, who had an interest in closing the case so quickly? The theories don't end there. A singer named Jaguar Wright, once close to several Randy B stars, publicly claims that Aaliyah was sacrificed by the system. Her statements, shocking at the time, speak of higher interests, power rituals, and industry secrets. Most dismiss her as a conspiracy theorist. But some of her accusations echo eerily in other cases where meteoric success seemed to come with equally mysterious events. Then, in 2025, everything changes. An American group, America's Future Incorporated, led by former General Michael Flynn, presents Jaguar Wright with an award for her courage and pursuit of truth. The event takes place at a private ceremony attended by political figures. For the first time, her words are no longer seen only as ramblings, but as claims some are willing to take seriously. The internet ignites. Independent media reopen the Aaliyah file. New investigators cross-check documents and testimonies, and all arrive at the same conclusion. The flight should have been canceled. Beyond the doubt, one simple truth remains. Aaliyah wanted to move on, to free herself, to create on her own terms. After years of imposed silence and ironclad contracts, she was preparing to spread her wings, to found her own label. She wanted to step away from the people who had controlled her for too long. Some believe that newfound independence upset certain interests. Others see it as the cruel fate of a time when everything moved too fast. Damon Dash put it this way: she wanted to leave that world. She was tired of the noise, the manipulation. She just wanted peace. Her mother, Diane Houghton, rarely spoke. At the funeral, she released the first of 22 doves, symbolizing each year of her daughter's life. A quiet, devastating gesture. Her brother Rashad said that minutes before the crash, Aaliyah called him from the airport, "I don't feel safe." Simple words that proved prophetic. 20 years later, Aaliyah remains a luminous shadow. Her influence spans generations. You can hear her in The Weeknd's rhythms, SZA's softness, Beyoncé's restraint. She shaped a style where elegance matters more than shock value, where sincerity outweighs noise. In one of her last interviews, she said, "When I'm gone, I want to be remembered as a true artist and a good person." That's exactly what she became. A legend, a timeless voice, a fragile grace that time has never erased. Whether you see her story as accidental or orchestrated, it remains the story of a young woman who wanted to exist in a world bigger than herself, and who, despite everything, left an indelible mark. Aaliyah didn't just shape music. She revealed the price of talent, the beauty of courage, and the quiet strength of those who keep rising, even after the fall. A voice, a light, and a mystery no one has yet had the courage to fully confront.